Find the best candidates with ZipRecruiter, where your job is just one click away from 100-plus job sites. ZipRecruiter, the fastest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/ABC Radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/ABC Radio. ZipRecruiter.com/ABC Radio.
Once more to the tension between police and the minority community in Chicago. The Chicago Tribune today reporting that 4 out of 5 people shot by police in Chicago in the past 6 years were African-American males, and about half of the officers involved were African-American or Hispanic. 2 Native Canadian families reeling from the news their sons were switched at birth.
It turns out David Tate Jr. was named after the father that raised him, not his biological father. DNA tests show he and childhood friend Leon Swanson were given to the wrong families when they were born.
4 years gone, I don't know, distraught, confused, angry.
I don't know what to say.
And this isn't the first time such a mistake was made at the Norway House Indian Hospital. Last November, 2 men from another reserve discovered they, too, had been switched at birth. The government has promised an independent investigation. Danielle Capelli, ABC News, Toronto.
General Motors is recalling nearly 370,000 2013 Chevy Equinox and GMC Terrain vehicles to fix a defective part that could prevent the windshield wipers from working. 2 police officers, different towns, lucky to be alive thanks to their badges. Both officers, one in Huntington Beach, California, the other in the Las Vegas area, in separate incidences, dodging bullets thanks to their shields. The badges took a beating, but both officers are doing great. This is ABC News.
ABC News Radio.
Bells of St. Patrick's Cathedral herald the arrival of Pope Francis here in New York City.
Honored with the prestigious Edward R. Murrow Award for overall excellence for the 3rd year in a row.
The vast majority of people here were very happy, and you could feel it in a really special way, a very historic moment.
The best team in radio is right here.
ABC News.
ABC News.
ABC News.
ABC News Radio.
Dave Packer, ABC News.
From the KMET Weather Center for Beaumont in the Pass area this morning, we'll kick off the weekend with patchy fog. Otherwise, we'll have a sunny, breezy day with a high of 89 with winds to 20 miles an hour. Tonight, it'll be clear and breezy, a low 67, and winds to 25 miles an hour. It'll continue to be sunny and breezy Sunday, or high 94, with winds to 25 miles an hour. For Redlands today, skies will clear with a high of 88. For Palm Springs, we'll have plenty of sunshine. We can expect a high at the century mark. I'm Rod Tanner for Smart Talk 1490 KMET.
What do you want to do for lunch? Cafe Royale in Calamasa makes your choices easy. Whether it's a light lunch with a chicken or tuna salad, half sandwich or soup and salad, or a hearty midday meal with a 1/3 pound tri-tip burger with sweet potato fries and coleslaw, or chicken fried steak with country gravy. Make Cafe Royale in Calamasa your stop for lunch today. Cafe Royale just off the I-10 freeway, County Line Road exit, open daily at 6 a.m. Cafe Royale in Calamasa. You will never leave hungry.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
Well, welcome. It is time for Constitutional Radio right here on KMET 1490 AM. I am your host, Douglas V. Gibbs. Find out more about me at douglasvgibbs.com and politicalpistachio.com. We come to you every Saturday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon right here on KMET. If you miss the show or you miss parts of it, don't worry. You can listen to the podcast later. Go to KMET1490am.com. Check out the podcast. You can also listen live online at that same website or download the app for your phone. On your phone, go to KMET1490am.com. Download the app. Listen to the show anytime, anywhere. Okay, time for the beginning of the Alex, you doing okay there? Everything's conservativecandidate.org, by the way. Alex, to my right, always right. Everything working out pretty good this morning?
Everything is going swimmingly.
Swimmingly?
As a matter of fact, I've started swimming again, so that's an appropriate term.
Yeah, I recommended that you start swimming again because you had injured your knee or something like that. Welcome to the show, folks. We've got a couple of guests in line today. I wanted to open this up and really qualify this first. Trevor Loudon is going to be on the air with us in a moment, and he has a book called The Enemies Within. And The Enemies Within really goes through those who are in our government who have affiliation, are members of, or have corrupt connections to either communist or socialist or Muslim entities that are enemies of our system of freedom. And I've known a lot about this kind of stuff for a while, but I love the way Trevor Loudon's book puts it together and his film, and we'll talk about that in a moment. And so when this election is approached, I've told people Hillary Clinton is something much, much, much worse than Trump could ever be. Her tentacles have reached so deep into so many different governmental agencies and enemy countries and enemy organizations that and the corruption and the pay to play and everything, that it's absolutely, for lack of a better word, frightening. And so we have the Never Trump folks out there, and they claim, well, the Mr. Trump's just as bad as Hillary. No, I'll take the bumbling billionaire that probably doesn't know exactly what he's talking about, but overall is a good guy and loves his country, over Hillary Clinton, who has her hooks sunk so deep into leftism, socialism, communism, and the Muslim Brotherhood. I'll take him every day over her every day of the week. All right. That said, to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, The Enemies Within by Trevor Loudon, the book is going to be a film. It's going to be released hopefully next month. And I got a chance to see the pre-screening of it, where there's some stuff that still needs to be edited out, and they hadn't done all the post-production, but it was the essence of what it's going to be in totality, and it knocked my socks off. And so we have on the line Trevor Loudon. Thank you for joining us on KMET. And Trevor, the film, honestly, pretty much knocked my socks off. I was really impressed because you pulled together and have the research and the evidence put together in ways that I don't think anybody has been able to do. And what was interesting is in the film, you essentially say, hey, I pulled it together going to your libraries and your public records.
Yeah. It's like none of it's stuff that you can't find if you look for it. But, American journalists don't look. American journalists deliberately cover this stuff up. We found a good example the other day. The guy, the Washington Post editor who wrote the biography of both Bill Clinton and Barack Obama and neglected to mention or emphasize Obama's connection to the Hawaiian Communist Party member Frank Marshall Davis, who mentored him as a young man. The guy who wrote that biography, both of his parents were Communist Party members.
Right.
And so he's given the job of profiling these two top socialist Democrats and covering up a lot of their crimes, a lot of their hidden associations.
Now, in the film, as I'm watching it, you focus on a number of representatives, senators, and individuals. And then we move on into kind of Obama, and then you wrap up with Hillary Clinton. And I like the way that was put together in that manner. And, not to give too much of the film away, but enough to where it definitely whets the appetite. And by the way, listeners, if you want to learn more about Trevor Loudon, TrevorLoudon.com. That's TrevorLoudon.com. And you can also check out the film, learn more about what's going on with that at enemieswithinmovie.com. But anyway, get back to these people. About 100 members of the House of Representatives and 20 in the Senate, approximately, have connections to communist, socialist, or Muslim Brotherhood style organizations.
Or all three. We say
all
there's
three.
At least there's 100 members of your House and 20 members of your Senate who are so tied to radical anti-American groups that they wouldn't have a prayer of passing an FBI security clearance. They wouldn't be allowed to work in the post office or the Department of Education or the Department of Agriculture. Yet they are serving on the Homeland Security Committee, the Armed Services Committee, the Intelligence Committee, and there's no security chief. None. Zero. You don't need a security check to serve on any of those committees. So a lot of these, so basically the communist movements, the Muslim Brotherhood are taking advantage of that massive hole in your national security, and they are putting their people into your government to do their bidding. And you've got a whole bunch of them in there now that just are complete security risks or are effectively working for the other side.
Now, just looking at the headlines today, right now, we're seeing how much of a pathological liar Hillary Clinton is, and that even techies who have there's a techie group of techies or techie organization out there bragging that they illegally covered up for her regarding the emails. Even the Associated Press is exposing Hillary's corruption in the sense of her calendar and the money regarding who she met when she was Secretary of State, and these people she's meeting with were also pumping all kinds of money into the Clinton Foundation. And this is just recent headlines. But in the film, you go a little deeper even and show a history of interesting connections. And go all the way back to when Bill was president and even further back than that. Could you give us a taste of it?
Yeah, well, we all know that Hillary Clinton was mentored by Saul Alinsky, the Chicago Marxist. But she also interned at a Communist Party law firm, and this wasn't a progressive law firm or a liberal law firm. This was a Communist Party law firm in San Francisco run by Bob Truhaft and Doris Bryn Walker. And they were both officials of the Soviet Front International Association of Democratic Lawyers. So Hillary has been working with Marxists her entire life. This isn't a new thing, and then you find that her Clinton Foundation has been working with a Skolkovo Foundation in Russia, and the FBI is talking about how this was used to transfer huge amounts of American military technology to Russia, to Moscow. So this is an ongoing pattern, and and then you find that Hillary's also got a Muslim Brotherhood sympathizer as her longtime aide, and that she's very heavily tied into Muslim Brotherhood groups overseas, who are basically she's promoting a UN resolution 1618. Which is a Muslim Brotherhood resolution which would ban criticism of Islam worldwide, including in the United States, would basically cancel out your First Amendment. You imagine living in a country after Hillary Clinton was president where it was illegal to criticize Islam. How many problems do you think that would create?
Speaking of Umar Abedin, who you're referring to, the Assange's WikiLeaks, an email that they found from Umar Abedin's email said that Clinton, this is just stuff that's popping up now, Clinton bombed Iraq to distract from his sexual affairs. According to Umar Abedin.
Well, and how cynical can you be? You bomb a country because you've got domestic problems with your sexual indiscretions. So you bomb a foreign country. This is just unbelievable. If you wrote a movie about that, no one would believe it.
Right.
But that's and how many lives, how many people were killed to cover up for Bill Clinton? How many American lives were put at risk? And how did that play out in the whole wars that happened in the future? How many Americans have died because of Bill Clinton wanted to cover up his problems? It's just unbelievable.
Speaking of Assange and the WikiLeaks, and some people see this as treasonous, the hacking and getting this information out. Other people are seeing folks like Assange from WikiLeaks as a hero what is your thoughts about the WikiLeaks emails that have been popping up that got hacked or released? People use the word hacked, but we're finding out that a lot of it was just insiders that was feeding stuff out of the DNC. But nonetheless, what do you think of all this? Do you consider Assange and WikiLeaks to be a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, it's ambivalent. Assange, in my opinion, is a KGB agent. Assange is basically working under the direction of the Russians.
Right.
But the horrible thing in this election, Hillary Clinton is heavily tied in with the Russians, but the Russians also like Donald Trump's foreign policies a little bit, his sort of willingness to soften up on NATO and that kind of thing. So they're trying to stir up trouble on both sides of this election. And so I don't think Assange is a hero, but we've got to take the information that comes out at face value and realize it is very valuable information.
Right.
Because, this is one bunch of thugs attacking another bunch of thugs, basically. And but we can benefit by looking at that information. I don't think Assange is doing this out of any great noble cause, but still, the information is valuable and gives us a huge insight into just how the Clintons operate. And they are they're out of Hillary Clinton's out of Chicago, and Saul Alinsky learned from both the Communist Party and the Chicago mob. And Hillary Clinton is exactly she should be his daughter, because she is a mobster and she's a Marxist. She has got both sides going, and she would be just the ultimate disaster for America. And I just want to clarify, you spoke before, too, that you made a point. Donald Trump's got his problems, but Hillary Clinton is way beyond the pale. But just think of these three things I want people to think about if they're worried whether they're going to vote or not. Okay, now we all know that Hillary would basically destroy the First and the Second Amendment rights with by taking over the Supreme Court. So that's one thing. That should be enough on itself. Then there's the fact that she's going to pass UN Resolution 1618 and make, criticism of Islam illegal in this country. So that again should be enough.
Right.
But think about the other things, because a lot of these conservatives think, 10 years' time the conservative movement will come back, and, they think they have all the time in the world. But think about this. Chuck Schumer has promised within 100 days of a Hillary Clinton presidency, they're going to amnesty every illegal immigrant in the United States. Now, that is between 12 and 40 million people. We know that they will then vote 70 to 80 to 90% Democrat. Now, Mitt Romney lost the last election by 2.5 million votes. Amnesty will give the Democrats anywhere between 8 and 30 million new votes. There will never be another Republican president. There will never be a conservative movement again. That's it. You'll have a one-party state controlled by the Democrats,
right,
who are controlled by the unions, who are controlled by the communists, run by a gangster Marxist. That is what we are facing in this election, because amnesty. Well, in California is very hard to elect a Republican state right now, basically because the illegal immigrants are all signed up to vote by SEIU and the unions, and they have basically turned even areas like Orange County blue. Parts of Orange County are blue because of this deliberate program of importing illegal immigrants and signing them up to vote for the Democrats. Well, they are going to do that across the entire country. They're going to do that to Texas. And if they take over Texas, which they will do, you can never, ever elect another Republican or conservative president. Ever. Ever. So
the election of Hillary is the end of human liberty.
Well, I say that. This is not hyperbole. If America is taken over by the socialists, who is going to stand for liberty then?
Right. And you're originally from New Zealand, and you've said a statement that has really stuck with me is, if America falls, the world falls.
Yeah. The Chinese will have New Zealand in a heartbeat. I always get emails from people. They say, look, if America goes bad, I want to come to New Zealand. And I say, come down, you'll have a great holiday, but if you want to live there, you better learn Chinese, because they are going to take China and they're going to take Australia. They've already got Tonga and Fiji and the Cook Islands. They're already buying up our utilities, buying up our politicians. If America goes down, we become part of the Chinese empire. Europe becomes part of the Russian empire. The Middle East is taken over by Iran. Most of Africa is already controlled by the Chinese. Most of Latin America is already communist. Where do you run to? Who's going to defend us? Ireland Iceland or Italy or who?
I used to work with the Contras, and I've been following this South American takeover. It's almost complete, to the point where they've appointed a pope who is a communist.
Absolutely. Pope Francis comes out of the Latin America liberation theology tradition. He's a Marxist. He was at the conference in Venezuela, I think it was in 1970, or it might have been earlier than that actually, where the KGB started liberation theology. They have got virtually all of Latin America now. Colombia is just falling right now. Brazil is sort of edging out a little bit, but they've got 80% of the countries in Latin America now, all under communist control. From Brazil to Chile to whatever. And so where do you run to? All these Americans who think they're going to run to Belize or Honduras. What's it going to be like to live as a gringo in Latin America when there is no free America, where the communists run the whole area? I wouldn't like to be a gringo down there if that was the situation. There's only one place to fight now. That's in America. If America can be saved, you can save the planet. If America goes down, we can kiss goodbye to liberty for 1,000 years.
Been up against a break for about 5 minutes, but it's a soft break, so I've been pushing it back. But I wanted to thank you being on the program, and do me a favor real quick before you go. Remind everybody how they can learn more about you, learn more about the film, and how can they help you with the film.
Well, look, thank you. Go to trevorloudon.com. That's my daily blog, trevorloudon.com. The Loudon is Loudon. You go there, you look on the sidebar, and there's a thing, fund this movie. Go there, you can flick in a few dollars, 10, 20, 30, $50, whatever you like. We're about 95% funded. We still need a little bit more for the initial launch. And you can also see a trailer for the movie there as well. So trevorloudon.com, fund this movie, and go and check it out. And and watch out. We're going to do a lot of publicity in the next few weeks. We're launching on September the 8th. So, we'll have it out there.
And it is incredible stuff. Thank you for joining us, Trevor Loudon. It's been a pleasure having you on the program. We'll definitely have you back in the future after the film and see where we're at that point.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Alex, and thanks, Doug, and look, it's a pleasure being on.
Well, the pleasure's all ours. All right, folks, we got to go to break. After the break, we've got another guest, and this is a young lady down in Temecula who is working to put on an event, 9/11 event, at her school. Don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss this.
You got a dent in your door, a scratch in your fender, or a scratch in your door and a dent in your fender. If you need auto detailing, if you need fire shooting decals on the side of your car, if you need a rally stripe right down the middle of your hardtop, I don't care what it is. The Patriots at All-Star Collision are the place you want to go. They're the only place to go. 522 Railroad Street in Corona. Web address allstarci.com to see all that they do and what they're all about. Phone number 951-279-9161. All-Star Collision Nation, the kings of rock and roll.
What's your constitutional IQ? Your quest to learn the Constitution can be fun for the whole family. Learn about the Constitution as you play the Constitution Quest board game. Learn more at constitutionquest.com.
Hi, this is Ed Hoffman, President Wholesale Capital Corporation, your direct mortgage lender. Real estate prices are still low, which means now's the time to buy your next home before they go up. Whether it's a home to live in, a vacation house, or an investment property, we can meet your mortgage financing needs to help you realize the next phase of your American dream. At Wholesale Capital Corporation, we make sure you get a loan that you can afford with terms that work for you. Wholesale Capital welcomes FHA buyers, conventional buyers, jumbo loan buyers, and we proudly help the U.S. military veterans take advantage of the zero down payment VA loan program. Nobody treats veterans better than Wholesale Capital Corporation. Seniors, if you're interested in creating an additional stream of income or just making your mortgage payment go away with a reverse mortgage, Wholesale Capital would love to help you. To speak with a loan officer who has your best interests in mind, call Wholesale Capital at 855-640-2020. That's area code 855-640-2020. Wholesale Capital Corporation, where we can close.
Help me fight the good fight. This radio program is funded by advertising dollars. So, if you are a business, add Constitution Radio with Douglas V. Gibbs to your business portfolio. If you are a listener, become a patron of the business's advertising on this program. Without advertising, your weekend dose of truth ends. With more advertising, Constitution Radio with Douglas V. Gibbs grows, and we will be on the way to win the battle to restore the Republic. To learn more, email us at constitutionspeaker@yahoo.com or visit douglasvgibbs.com.
And now, back to our program.
Welcome back. Constitution Radio with Douglas V. Gibbs. KMET 1490 AM. Listen worldwide at KMET1490am.com. Check out the podcast later. And you know what? I've been putting the video of the show, because if you're listening online, you go to the computer, you can watch me, gesticulate to nobody in particular right there on the camera. And we save that and then put it on my YouTube page later. So if you want to check it out later and you want to watch the video, youtube.com/Douglas V. Gibbs. And to my right, always to my right, is Mr. Alex Ferguson. Alex is, that was a fascinating interview, wasn't it?
I always enjoy talking to Loudon. He's outstanding.
Outstanding, and the research he has done is absolutely incredible. I can't wait till you see the film, sir, because I think it's going to, see, if you're a regular listener to this radio program, one of the things that you realize is I'm the Constitution guy, and Alex is the guy who has his eye on the communists. And, the Black Book of Communism and the Naked Communists, those kinds of resources are at his fingertips. And so this film exposes 100 members of the House, 20 members of the Senate, who have their fingers in the cookie jar with the communists and the socialists and Muslim Brotherhood, and in some cases, all three. Saudi Arabia, and it's just absolutely incredible. The research is well done. They interview a number of different people, almost all of which those people I got a chance to meet last Sunday. I was at the Islam and Western civilization. Are they compatible? I think was the rhetorical question. Of course, the answer is not. But it was a fantastic event. Had a chance to exchange words with Ambassador John Bolton. Revisit an old friendship with Pamela Geller. Spent some time with Bill Whittle, as a matter of fact. And I was talking to Bill Whittle's manager for quite a long time, and I've been emailing her back and forth. So we'll get Bill probably on the show real soon. But it was a great event, and tell you what, if we had the funding, you would have been there, Alex, with me. But that goes back to an ad you guys heard in between here during the commercials. This show is always needing funding. We want to expand. We want to be on more days. We need to do more. And if you want to participate in helping fund this program, email me at constitutionspeaker@yahoo.com. Okay, and speaking of funding, this young lady no longer needs any help funding because organization has backed her up on what she's trying to do. Imagine this, a high schooler who wants to have a 9/11 remembrance event at her high school. that is incredible in its own right, but her story is even more so incredible. Satya, welcome to the program. Welcome to Constitution Radio. It is a pleasure to have you on the air with us.
Hi, Doug. It's so nice to be here, too.
Oh, it's good to hear you. Now, real quick, before we get into what you're trying to do, I want you to tell the audience a little bit about you and your brother and your parents and where they're from. Give them a little bit of a taste of why your family is so conservative and understand the dangers of communism.
Sure. So, my family immigrated here legally from Cambodia when they were escaping the communist regime, when the communists took over the country of Cambodia. And my parents, they were only around 12 years old when they took over the country. And my grandpa, my mom's dad, got shot and killed by communist soldiers, and her sister died of starvation because of the state of the country. And when they came here to America, they had no idea what to expect, but through their hard work and they were trying to find their American dream, and through hard work, they finally succeeded, got an education, and became successful. And they passed down those values down to me and my brother. So both of us are very involved and very thankful that we can be in this country and spread the values that my parents passed on to us.
So you're a junior at Linfield Christian School in Temecula, right?
Yep.
And your brother, a little bit older than you, he goes to college there in Riverside, and he's the vice president of the Riverside Republican Assembly. And so you both are very active. So now let's go through your thought process. 9/11 is coming. You would like to do something to remember what happened. What was your thought process? How did you start bringing together what you wanted to do?
Well, I wasn't around for 9/11, but as I was growing up, right now on the TV, we have all of these new terrorist attacks all around the world, and even here in the United States, in Orlando and stuff. So I just really wanted to have an event to commemorate all the lives lost due to radical Islamic terrorism and remind my community and students at my school about what's actually happening and not what our president's trying to tell us and what everyone else is trying to say about the issue.
Now, you were just a baby when 9/11 happened, right?
Yeah, 1 year old.
1 year old. Okay, so now, Alex, real quick. See, Alex, who's to my right, served in the United States Marine Corps in Vietnam. And I tease him all the time about how, what's history to me is memories to him. In our case, what's history to you is memories to us. But
my memory is most poignant when I was a substitute teacher during the Cambodian killing fields, and these children would show up in classes, and they'd say to me, they'd go through a litany of the people in their family who were killed, my father, my sister, my uncle, and they'd go on, and then they would ask me, isn't there something you can do about this regular teacher here? And I go, what's the matter with him? They'd say, the guy's a war protester. He's telling everybody in the world that the communists are the good guys. They're not the good guys. God. They stole everything and murdered everybody, and that's what they always do. Can't somebody tell this guy that he's out of his mind? And there was nothing I could do.
And so, and hearing something like that, and then once again, this is someone who fought in Vietnam too, so he's been in Southeast Asia. He totally understands that. And your parents lived through it. And so, growing up as a child, you've heard these stories, you've read about all of this, and so now you're this very conservative young lady. 9/11's coming up. You feel the need to do something.
Yeah.
And so, how did that evolve?
I feel like just growing up and hearing all these stories about communism and actually having parents who experienced all of these events, it just really hit me and showed me that there is a reality that's out there, not in America, and there are things happening that we here in America don't see. And I just wanted to really preach that out to especially kids my age to make sure that they know that there is a real threat out there, and we need to know and acknowledge that.
Yeah, because your generation seems to not believe that threat is out there. It's just a fairy tale.
Yeah.
When I was teaching, right after 9/11, I started looking through the Blockbuster video places, all the different video places. I could not find a video that showed the airplanes hitting the Trade Center. And when I mentioned that to my superiors at the school, they said, "Well, people don't want to upset the population. We don't want people mad at the Arabs or whatever."
Muslims,
I'm saying, well, what is our response then? How do we respond to being murdered and attacked like this? We're supposed to just close our eyes?
Could you imagine if after Pearl Harbor that was happening? Oh, well, no, we don't want to upset the Japanese.
I was hauled into the principal's office and told not to talk about Vietnam anymore or anything like it because it might be upsetting to the students and it was too one-sided. I'm not allowed to tell our side of a war.
Matter of fact, we had Charles Wiley on the program a couple weeks ago, and he basically said everything that you've been learning about Vietnam and all the propaganda and all that, it's all nonsense. And he knows because he was there. He was a journalist. And he saw that it was tilted. And I'll give you a real quick example. Then we'll get back to Satya's event coming up. He was talking about a welcome home parade. In 1973 in New York City at Times Square where hundreds of thousands of people attended. Then he pulls out this newspaper article written by a reporter in Connecticut that says, "Welcome Home Parade in New York has light attendance." I mean, it's not a matter of not reporting this stuff. The media and the leftists and the communist influenced people out there that will absolutely outright lie about this stuff. Now, that said, real quick, let's get back to Satya's event now. So your event now is scheduled for Friday the 9th, right? 9/9?
Yep, September 9th.
Okay, tell us about the speaker that you invited and how you miraculously got him and it got funded and all of that.
So I got Mark Thiessen, who was the former chief speechwriter to George W. Bush, to come and speak at my school. And all of this couldn't have been possible without the Young America's Foundation, which has helped me throughout this entire process with getting his information and helping me to fund the cost of bringing him out here to Temecula. So I'm so thankful for them and how they got Mark Thiessen to come to my school.
Mark Thiessen, he was in the Pentagon on 9/11, right?
Yeah, he was in the Pentagon.
So for all you conspiracy theorists that believe that the Pentagon being hit was a lie, someone who was actually there when it was hit will be at Linfield High to talk about that and more on the 9th of September. At what time?
From 9:30 a.m. to 10:30.
9:30 to 10:30. We Constitution Association, look us up, constitutionassociation.com. We're going to try to help her out as much as we can, get some flags in the ground, that kind of stuff. Definitely give me all the information we need on that. You and I have been emailing back and forth as it is. I want to help her out as much as possible. If you think you can help, you need to get a hold of Satya. How can people get a hold of you, or would you rather them get a hold of me first if they want to help?
Either way would be fine.
All right. Why don't you throw out an email address they can contact you at?
Sure. The email is satya.ath@gmail.com.
Okay, that's satya, satya.ath@gmail.com. Or you can contact me, constitutionspeaker@yahoo.com. Satya, it's been a pleasure having you on. Real quick, final words. If you, this is your elevator pitch. What do you want to tell the audience to get these people to say, "Man, I got to be at that event"? Go ahead.
I think right now, especially with the media, what they're trying to tell us about radical Islamic terrorism and the threats that we have in the United States. But at this event, I really want to make it clear that radical Islamic terrorism is a threat, and Mark Thiessen's here as a witness to tell us about that. And I hope that if anybody can come and make it, it would be an awesome event, and I'd love to have everyone there.
This is a junior in high school, folks. The future generation does have hope. Satya, thank you for spending time on Constitution Radio with me. It's been a pleasure having you.
God bless you,
Thank you so much. God bless you too.
And with that, we're going to break. But when we come back, we got the big stories of the week. And I think Alex might have a few things to say about what he's been researching. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Ed Hoffman, President, Wholesale Capital Corporation, your direct mortgage lender. Real estate prices are still low, which means now's the time to buy your next home before they go up. Whether it's a home to live in, a vacation house, or an investment property, we can meet your mortgage financing needs to help you realize the next phase of your American dream. At Wholesale Capital Corporation, we make sure you get a loan that you can afford with terms that work for you. Wholesale Capital welcomes FHA buyers, conventional buyers, jumbo loan buyers, and we proudly help the U.S. military veterans take advantage of the zero down payment VA loan program. Nobody treats veterans better than Wholesale Capital Corporation. Seniors, if you're interested in creating an additional stream of income or just making your mortgage payment go away with a reverse mortgage, Wholesale Capital would love to help you. To speak with a loan officer who has your best interests in mind, call Wholesale Capital at 855-640-2020. That's area code 855-640-2020. Wholesale Capital Corporation, where we can close.
The spirit of Paul Revere is alive and well and broadcasting on KMET AM 1490. Constitutionalist Douglas V. Gibbs hosts a roundtable of local citizens through local, state, and national issues every Saturday at 8 a.m. Thomas Jefferson said, "We in America do not have government by the majority. We have government by the majority who participate." So, participate. Listen to Conservative Voice Radio every Saturday at 8 a.m. and join Paul Revere's modern Ride for Liberty.
The true patriots of All-Star Collision have been proudly serving the Inland Empire for over 20 years. Built on honesty, integrity, quality, and old-fashioned customer service, we offer lifetime warranties for our work, and every vehicle serviced by All-Star Collision is washed, detailed, the headlights polished, fluids are checked and topped off, safety checked, and returned in showroom condition. We offer free estimates, are approved by major insurance companies, and accept all claims for all cars and trucks. We use computerized frame straightening to factory specifications, offer fiberglass body repair and paint, free local pickup and delivery, and after-hours towing. Mention this radio program at drop-off and receive $100 off or a free rental car for up to 5 days during your repair. Visit us at allstarci.com or at 522 Railroad Street in Corona. Call us at 951-279-9161. We are the kings of wreck and roll.
And now, back to our program.
Welcome back, Constitution Radio with Douglas V. Gibbs, right here on KMET 1490 AM. And that couple of good guests on the program. Got a few things that we need to talk about. But before we do, if you have something to say, what did you think of the guests? 951-922-3532. 951-922-3532. Also, want to remind everybody that our sponsors bring this program to you, and I want to mention our sponsors real quick. Normally, we have the Constitution Quest game question of the week, but with 2 guests, I knew we wouldn't have time. We really need to add an hour to this program and have time for everything we want to do. But if you want to learn more about the Constitution Quest game, constitutionquest.com. Stick Doug in the discount box. All-Star Collision out there in Corona, they've been a fantastic sponsor also for the program. allstarci.com, allstarci.com, and then, of course, the ad you just heard, Wholesale Capital Corporation. They've been a great support as well. WCCloans.com. If you need a mortgage loan, that's the place to go. All right, Alex, what do you got for us?
Well, I got a couple of things. Number one is a poem. I see that the left, as I've mentioned before, the left is calling any dribble that it runs out as a prose poem. So I'm taking the term and giving it some legitimacy. This one has an emblem that I cooked up. You'll find fascinating if you go to conservativecannonade.org. It's called "Peace is Patriotic" with a question mark. It says, "When the peace activist says he loves America, he means Cape Cod and the Grand Canyon. His enthusiasm for our geography, however, does not extend itself to our history and culture, nor to our political and economic systems. In fact, he equates that sort of patriotism with fascism, preferring instead the allurements of international socialism. Since international socialism is dedicated to the destruction of our way of life and the looting of our treasures, the peace activist's love of country takes on the aspect of the pedophile's love of children." Now, in the meantime...
Wow, that's a I was pulling no punches.
Well, it's sure a heck of a lot better than what they call prose poetry. Anyway, what I'm doing this week is reviewing a book called The War on Cops by Heather Mcdonald. It sounds like a foregone conclusion and you wouldn't get anything out of it, but the statistics are in there. The logic is in there. The narrative on the various situations that have happened is in there. It's very worthwhile. Now, one of the things that I've come to realize in the last few years is that the veneer of civilization is very thin and it's very fragile. Let's take an example.
There's a fine line between chaos and order.
And it doesn't take much to destroy that line.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
For instance, we wanted to do something about the 15% or whatever it is that is in poverty in the United States.
Right.
And so they go to a totalitarian answer. Now, the blacks say that they have been betrayed by whites. They have, by liberal whites, by socialist whites, who took away the tools that are needed to succeed in modern society.
Basically, have paid them to stay in poverty, right?
Exactly. As I have said before, they instructed me as a young teacher that, quote, you have no right to impose your middle-class white values on these children of color.
Wow.
Now, nature abhors a vacuum. We stopped expressing our opinion about morality and goodness and patriotism and all that. We were told to stop, and as a consequence, the vacuum was filled by gangbangers. The vacuum, it was the schools have been taken over. They're run by the gangs, just like the prisons are run by the gangs. So what they did in 1964 with LBJ's War on Poverty is that they spent $22 trillion, by the way. We're always told that we've done nothing for blacks, we've done nothing for the poor. $22 trillion since 1964. And what we end up with is a fatherless household rate in the black community of 79%.
Well, dad's not needed anymore. The government has taken over.
They are married to Uncle Sam.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that Uncle Sam only supplies goods and cash. He doesn't supply upbringing. He doesn't supply the moral values that have always been passed on by fathers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the feminists, of course, being Marxists, they said that a woman needs a man like a fish needs a bicycle. Well, for a lesbian woman, that might be true, but the children need a father. The woman cannot handle a teenage son, rare woman that can handle a teenage son who's full of hormones and
right.
resentment. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, well, the child needs a mother and a father, and one will mother them, and the other one will father them. What we have is either a woman trying to do both, or in the case of some of these today's weird situations where you've got the wrong sex trying to mother or father, and they're just not capable of it.
Well, what we end up with is the system now loaded up with liberals and Marxists. They lie to us constantly. The first lie is that police and society are picking on black males.
The man the man is out to get you.
Well, that may have been true years ago, but the left doesn't talk about today. They always talk about yesterday and what was going on 50 years ago or 30 years ago. That stuff does not happen nowadays. You take an example, a simple example. There was a court case brought that blacks were stopped for traffic violations in two different, in Missouri and in New Jersey. And they did some studies. They stopped the one in New Jersey when it began to become obvious what the answer was. They had monitors in the police cars, and what they discovered was that the blacks, not being raised by a father, their rate of speeding and other traffic violations was enormously greater than the whites or the Asians.
Okay, to sum a little bit of this up because we're running out of time here.
All right.
So what you're saying is the problem isn't the cops. The problem is the culture, and the culture has been created by liberalism.
And these kids, I talked to a kid in St. Louis, Missouri, a year ago. A kid, I say, he was an ex-con. He says, "Look, I got no high school education. They give me a couple $100 when I get out of prison and a voucher for a hotel room for a week. The week is almost run out. The $200 is gone. What am I supposed to do?" And I'm thinking somebody has set this guy up for failure. The system has ruined. And by the way, I can tell you right now that as a teacher, I have watched the pronouncements come down from on high that demanded techniques and procedures that made it a guarantee that nobody that year would learn math. And I could go into that in detail. But this is a conspiracy by the left to make sure that the blacks stay on the plantation that they put them on 100 years ago and are subservient to the Democratic and dependent upon the Democratic Party.
And it's worked so well that now they're trying to apply it to everybody. It's called Common Core.
It's insane.
It's insane.
The fact that the American people, in my opinion, it's the media.
That's a large part of it. Yeah, absolutely. And
they were supposed to tell us about this.
Well, and you have Charles Wiley on the program a couple weeks ago, and you guys can look it up, listeners. But yeah, Charles Wiley pretty much has said the same thing. You know, the media's been lying to you, and we've been believing them. All right, story number 2, big all-star collision, big stories of the week. Got 2 of them. Nigel Farage is working with Donald Trump. Nigel Farage being the guy behind Brexit. And he's saying anything is possible if enough decent people fight the establishment. So Trump's presidency is not about conservatism. It's about fighting the establishment, fighting globalism, fighting this machine that Hillary is a part of is trying to tear us down. Any thoughts?
Yeah, Trump's recommendation for me is that he's not Hillary. Hillary is the worst possible example. She's a shrieking hag with a Marxist attitude and a thief's action. The people the Republicans that have decided now, it's bad enough to not vote for Trump, but the idea of supporting Hillary, putting a mark on a ballot for Hillary, it's got to be worth 100 years in hell.
The United Kingdom Independent Party head Nigel Farage agrees with you. Here's his quotes: "I wouldn't vote for Hillary Clinton if you paid me. I wouldn't vote for Hillary Clinton if she paid me." So there you go. And he's now in Trump's corner, and he's the guy who brought about Brexit. And here's the thing about Brexit. Nobody expected Brexit, the vote for Britain to leave the European Union. Nobody expected that to succeed. All the polls said there was no way it had a chance. You know, like the polls say that Trump has no chance. And guess what? It won. Brexit won. All right, other story. And this isn't political, it's news, but I really feel the need that we talk about it. A powerful earthquake in Italy kills at least 241 and shatters towns, absolutely destroys neighborhoods. But there is one story that came out of it that I read a little bit this morning that really caught my attention. A 4-year-old was found alive because the child's older sister had embraced the child and protected the child. The older sibling passed away. And this earthquake, the fact is we do live in a world where there are natural disasters. I was also reading that NASA is saying that the big one in L.A. is inevitable within the next year and a half.
Oh, boy.
So it doesn't make you feel good about living in Southern California. So now the strong earthquake struck a mountainous stretch of central Italy Wednesday, killing at least 241 people, trapping scores of debris and setting off tremors that awakened residents in Rome, nearly 100 miles to the southwest. The earthquake had a preliminary magnitude of 6.2, struck at 3:36 a.m., about 6.5 miles northeast of the town of Norcia in the Umbria region, followed by about 200 aftershocks over the next several hours, including
some of which were almost as bad as the original.
Oh, yeah. Well, including a 5.5 magnitude tremor at 4:33 a.m. Do you imagine?
Having gone through that and then waking up to another one?
Yeah. Now, here in Southern California, we've had our share of quakes. We've had big quakes, but the big one has not yet to hit us. And NASA's saying it is inevitable within the next year and a half. Of course, we've heard that before, but don't hold your breath because you know what? It might be true. All right,
if our politicians had any responsibility at all, we'd be prepared for this, but nobody is.
Well, we've done some preparation, but yeah, I think we might be a little bit short here. We're out of time. Plug yourself.
Go to conservativecannonade.org. I'm telling you, it's where the good stuff is.
And thanks for listening. Constitution Radio with Douglas V. Gibbs right here on KMET. Learn more about me at douglasvgibbs.com. Politicalpistachio.com is where I write. God bless America and God bless you and my friends. Never forget, united we stand, combined we kick butt. If we're not working together, we're not going to turn this around. But I am an optimist. I don't believe in no-win scenarios. We'll see you next week right here on KMET. Thank you for the time. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of the fight.